Hello, and welcome to Wilyousmile Canada. Today, as you know, continuing with Autism Awareness Month, I'm here with an expert, my good friend and mentor, Chris Dedde, who works here at the Asnl Autism Center, Newfoundland Labrador. He's the outreach coordinator here. So thank you for doing this, Chris.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. My first question for you today is, I'm trying to read my questions now. Explain a little what you do here.
My role as outreach coordinator is to reach out to the community, support families, connect people, individuals with autism to resources and services. Some that we provide and some that are provided through government services or private institutions. Sometimes it's a family looking for a diagnosis of autism and they're trying to figure out what that is and how to get that. Sometimes it's an adult looking for those services, how to get a diagnosis. And from there we go into financial planning, ABA, respite services. There's a number of different areas where an individual can access services, whether it's through speech and OT, and it goes on and on.
Yeah. How did you become involved with this career?
Well, my career kind of found me. I went to university, and when I was finished university, I worked at a school in New York, Western New York, called Language Development Program, and their focus was helping children with language disorders. And with autism, we have language disorders. So many of the students there had autism. At least 75% had autism, as well as cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, some other issues. But when I was there, it really found something in me that I felt that I could help. Was very motivated by something that can help individuals learn and be more independent. And be really successful in life in many different areas. So I've worked with lessons, helping students become more academic. I've done things with life skills, so individuals can work on life skills and adapting their life skill choices. So whether it's working, cooking, self-care, but to do leisurely. Looking for those motivations, and then as well as helping individuals with their career planning, what to do, how to work, how to find work, and how to be successful as an adult as we transition older and older. So that's really my motivation.
Cool. Thank you. So, can you explain to those who don't know what autism is, what is autism?
That's a loaded question. Autism is very broad, and it's unique for each individual. So autism itself is a neurological disorder. It has to do with the brain and how the brain developed, or something changed in the brain, causing some challenges with social communication. It could be have a voice and then lost any words or communication, verbal communication. That's part of it. We have many individuals with autism who do speak, fortunately, and they don't require a communication system, but also it's a social piece with autism. Hows and whys and whens and social behavior, understanding when things change or why things change, and also not being stuck during transitions when we need to go from one thing to another thing. So autism is very different for each individual, as well as the sensory piece. So sometimes the senses, whether it's usually lights and sounds or smells, can affect someone in many different ways. So we have many individuals who are sensory seekers, who need to have that sensory input. And we have other people who are sensory avoiders, who block out that sensory input so they don't have to deal with it or process it. Or they may have to do something, looks dramatic, to block out sensory input just in order to be able to process everything else that's going on. So it's very individualized. That's why we chose the puzzle piece for autism, because the puzzle piece is unique It's different.
Yeah.
It's for every person, and just like autism is. It's unique.
Yeah.
It's unique for each and every person and how it is, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
So when someone says, your diagnosis is autism, well, I often say, well, your diagnosis is William,
Yeah.
because it's about you.
Yeah.
And I don't get too hung up on the things that you can't do, because I already can work around those things, or things that you struggle with, and those are the things we can work with. But with autism comes many strengths, attention to detail, the tremendous focus on 2 or 3 things, and also be able to do many things repetitively that create comfort for a lot of individuals. And I find those are great strengths to go with some of the challenges that go with autism.
Yeah. Well, as I've been here now, working here for 3 years, so soon, going on, right? And I've seen so many different types, young, old, doesn't matter age, and it's a really good place to learn different ways.
Exactly. And that's the thing about autism. Autism doesn't matter who you are. You could be what race you are, or what sex you are, what religion you are. It doesn't matter. Autism is found everywhere around the world. And autism affects people in many different ways.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who have autism, and they're all different than I am. So there you go. And to continue that, what advice do you have for people who believe that they may be on this autism spectrum but have not been diagnosed yet?
With that, I often encourage individuals to think about what that diagnosis means. How you think about it often depends on your interaction with everyone around you, whether it's your family, other individuals, your peers, your workmates, your schoolmates, and understanding your own social challenges is really important. To understand those things and what you have a certain comfort with. It's important for individuals to, especially a young adult, just getting a diagnosis, I think requires some counseling. I think it requires a lot of talk and to be able to talk through different things, because you wonder how come nobody caught this before? Or how come nobody understood this before? Or for many individuals, it's like a light bulb moment, and many people go, that's why I have so much trouble doing this, or that's why I'm doing this, right? So for a lot of people, it can go either way. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
What I encourage people to do is talk about it. Talk about it with your family. Talk about it, if you have a good friend, talk about it with them, because these people are going to be the most understanding. And seek out those resources, whether it's an outreach person with Autism Society, or whether it's with a counselor or someone else. They're there to help and direct you and provide you resources.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I said it before in the Autism Awareness Day video that I was diagnosed late, so I understand where it comes from, because I was 16, I think, when I was diagnosed. So I understand 1 year later, it's like, okay, where did doctors pick up this before, type of thing.
Right.
But I understand that. And to go with that, same thing, advice for like parents, employers, and friends, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, for parents, I think it's really important that they get on board right away. The earlier, the better, because there's certain programs, ABA or intensive behavior intervention, that can really help a lot of individuals with their development, especially at a younger age. That can help the coping process start earlier, to help the learning process start earlier. Because individuals, we all learn differently. Yeah. Some people learn by reading, some people learn by listening, some people learn by actually doing and putting things together. And for a lot of individuals with autism, it's like the hands-on piece that really is their strength, or the reading piece is really their strength. The listening piece, not because they don't want to listen, because they can't listen, it's often the auditory processing isn't as well defined as it could be. So early intervention really helps individuals be more successful in the long run, and they can address certain things, and as they mature also their interests and their struggles and their challenges and their strengths mature with that as well. So it's important to work on things at an early age, as best you can. But it's also important to be very open with your child with autism and talk about it. Yeah. Many people say, I don't know when's it's a good time to talk to my child about autism, or if they have autism. And I would always say, now's a good time. There's always a good time.
Yeah.
Because the individual needs to know about their autism. That individual needs to know when they're put into a situation how to advocate best for themselves. Right? And they also need to understand, like, when they're addressing with a coworker or a teacher or even a peer, you know, we can say, you know, yes, I have autism. I can be proud of who I am. Autism is not something to be ashamed of, but autism gives the individual a great deal of strength and power. And you know, people say, you know what, it's a disability. Well, I see it as a different ability, where I see, you know, take the dis out of the ability and look at the ability is really what's important. As for workers, if it's for employers, it's for community resource people, working with individuals with autism is an amazing thing. I've worked with employers who said, you know, I get rid of all my staff if I could have 10 people. I can't, right? And that's great because that person with autism is a diligent worker. They always show up, rarely calling sick. They're not on their phone texting their buddies all day long. They're not searching, you know, different things. They're diligent, they attend to the details, and they're rule followers. Our guys love rules. So if this is the rule, this is what the work is, they're going to do it. So your best employee is probably going to be that person with autism who's going to be really attentive to your work, and it broadens the people who come into your work as well. It allows, you know, the public to see that yes, you have someone with autism working with you, and if they know that you're supportive, then more and more people are supportive. People talk. People know what goes on. And I think there's lots of positives out there. And people with autism need to be included in the community, at their after-school programs, in their regular programs that are programs are offered, whether it's at museums or with day groups or daycares or Boy Scouts or Girl Guides. Individuals with autism can be successful in all those areas. They just need to be supported in a manner that they can understand it. Does it require some work? Sure it does. But we're here to help.
Exactly. As the old saying goes, you meet one person autism, you got one person autism.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah, that's good. 2 more questions here now. We're hearing more about autism now, a little bit more in the media and stuff. So, has there been much inclusion in autism awareness around your career? Do you find there's more awareness now than there was a few years ago? Something?
Oh, definitely. We look back 10 years ago. We were looking at autism was 1 out of every 250 people. Today we're looking at 1 out of probably 60, 55 people. We don't know the stats yet, but we're using, you know, North American stats, so it's 1 out of 68 for 2017. So we know that there's an increase in the number of people being diagnosed with autism. That hasn't gone unnoticed. Hollywood, we see the Blue Ranger. We see in TV shows, we see Bones, Criminal Minds. A lot of these anthropologists or doctors have autism. In this season, this year, in the 2017 fall season, we have a doctor with autism who performs tremendously, but you can see the social struggles he has. And then we see young Sheldon from the precursor to Big Bang Theory, Sheldon Cooper, and we see him as a child with dealing with social challenges and different things. No one says he comes out as thing as autism, but
well, if you look at all of them, it almost
exactly
can be.
Exactly.
Well, especially in the letter, if you look at both of them, right?
Exactly. You look at all their social behavior, and think, a lot of similarities there. So there is a lot of there is a lot more awareness. When I came to Newfoundland, there was very little being done for public awareness, especially with school children. So my mandate is to go to a lot of the area schools and educate the children on autism. They already know their peer may have something. They know they're a little different. They might know they do things a little weird or strange. Not out of purpose, but the behavior isn't what their peers are doing. So it looks going to be a little different. So it's always been my goal is to help other children understand their peers with autism, and from there, it gives them strength. It gives individuals with autism strength. It helps the other kids to empathize a bit more and to know how to address the situations and how to address them to help them be more social, more interactive, and they can learn to be a bit more flexible themselves. So we're learning lots of different things that way. And with that, we see a lot of great things happening. We see children who are maybe in a classroom with their peers throughout school, and then when they transition to junior high, they have those same peers, those same friends that are supportive to them and helping them as they go without having parents, teachers, support staff having to have their back all the time. So we're seeing lots of positives with awareness. With awareness, we get understanding. With understanding, we get acceptance. And acceptance is really what anybody wants.
And you know, I found anyway, if the younger the kid anyway, it's more they're going to be aware they're getting older. Because nowadays, like I remember in my school, like when I used to tell people my father was a nurse, some kids made fun of that, and I'm not sure why. That my generation would never do that now, but they're young because their parents would have kind of, right?
Sure.
So as soon as you learn new things, people learn involved and stuff like that.
Thank God for generational evolution.
Yeah.
Because
we learn a little from our old one, but we learn a little bit more for the next generation too.
Exactly. That's right.
So to finish this up, and finally, what is the one joy you get from your job?
Oh gosh, I get so many joys. Every day, you know, someone says, you know, Chris is an expert in autism. And really, I'm not an expert in autism. The expert in autism is the individual with autism. I consult with autism. I help people every day with autism. I help teachers and educators and community groups and business people help individuals with autism. The joy I get out of everything is that individuals with autism are successful. They're succeeding. Did we give them a push? Did we give them a hand up? Maybe. But what the individual does with it after is up to them. And we see amazing things happen. For instance, I met this one gentleman a few years ago at a school. I was doing an awareness session. And he comes up to me and says, you know, I'd like to start something with autism. And because he identified himself as being as autistic, but not yet diagnosed. So I invited him to a group to meet with other people. He met one person, he met another person, he met another person, and over time they have such a great bond, a great connection, a great friendship. In April, past April, I've had these 5 individuals at my home for dinner.
I don't know who these people are.
This dinner was the last night that these 4 or 5 individuals were going to be together. And I sat around the table and thinking to myself, like, I did this. Not directly, but my influence of being able to connect with people at certain points in their lives came together at that one point. And they were together, bonding, enjoying a meal, laughing, and thinking about what their futures are going to be like. And I think that was amazing.
It was.
To me, probably one of the most joyful times I've had recently.
Yeah, me too. So, yes, thank you, Chris, for doing this.
My pleasure.
If you want more information, please look up
autism.nf.net.
There you go. I looked it up as Asnl.com, you can find that way too. Or look up on Google anyway or any website and you could learn more about it. Or any centers around your area type thing too. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And please comment down below on any questions you want to ask me about this more on autism stuff. And thank you. And until next time, take care.